still supposed to be singing? Oh, there we are. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, I have heard myself saying there we are. Nice. Do you think there's gonna be any delay or any echo or anything? Like I'll have the video muted. Okay, I'll just have the sound off. No, I turned the sound off as well.
Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this live stream. This is Q8 Pilot, your host for tonight's show. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest joining us, the executive director of xcrafts, Marko. How are you doing, my friend? And welcome to this live stream. Thank you very much for making the time to be here.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and finally show you what we've been working on for so long, guys. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here, and yeah, let's see how it goes. Hopefully it will go really well.
Hopefully, yeah. Marko, can you just begin by telling everyone on stream, how did you actually start with xcrafts, and specifically, how did you actually develop this aircraft? How long it's been in development? What were some of the main challenges that faced you and the team developing the aircraft, and how do we got to today?
All right. Well, it all started pretty much in 2013 where I released my first E195 for X-Plane 9, I believe, back then. And for me, I was just like 20 years old. I could not believe that people care about this. I mean, I started before that by making liveries, and after I was making liveries, I was so excited people are downloading my liveries. That was just incredible. So after some time of doing that, I just thought, okay, I wonder how to actually make these planes. So I started digging around this plane maker and started learning a bit of 3D. And over time, I just thought, okay, I could try to make a plane myself and make it freeware. And I picked an Embraer E195. Back then, I didn't even know Embraers, to be honest. I just thought it looked really nice. So I just picked that plane. And then, so yeah, I just started working on it. But after like half a year of working, I thought to myself, well, I'm putting so much effort and time into this. I might as well just try to make it like a simple, cheap payware aircraft. So I worked on it for another year or so, and then I presented it to the xplane.org store, and then they said, well, it's not really good enough, but kind of keep going. So that's what I did. I just kept working on it for another, I don't know, half a year or maybe another year, and then we released it, and it was crap, like compared to what we're looking at right now. But for me, that was just incredible. Like, it worked in X-Plane, it flew, you could do lots of really cool things and have fun with it. And I loved the feedback that people were giving me, like they were very supportive. And that's how pretty much I started making airplanes. And then along the line, Steve Wilson joined me, who is the software developer, and he creates all the plugins for our airplanes. And then we created the E175, which was a pretty big step up from the original E195. And after that, we updated the E195 to be at the same level of the E175 and kind of, so we kept pushing them up one by one. And at some point, we started working on the ERJs, which turned out to be great little jets, which are very popular, and I love them. They are kind of very nimble and kind of like little sports cars. And yeah, and after a couple of years of working on that and perfecting them, I said, okay, I want to make like the E-jets the right way. At that point, we've already kind of been in business for like 6 years or so, I would say. And so yeah, I said, okay, this time I want to make all the E-jets, and I want to make them at least at the level of the RJs. So we started working on them, and after like a year and a half, we started getting some attention. More and more people were interested. We started getting lots of pilots emailing me like weekly, trying to help out, seeing if they could just kind of join the development. And so this whole process of making the new E-jets kind of grew into something so much bigger than I ever expected. It was really supposed to be at the level of the RJs, but as more and more pilots were joining, they were pushing us to develop more of these systems to a much higher level, which we really didn't plan because we didn't know how to make those things back then. But over the years, we just learned. And so yeah, at 2021 at the Flight Sim Expo, I made a trailer about with this exact plane, and we said we'll release in
Thank you guys for
2022.
setting this
I was
session
very
up
confident
together.
about that at that
Both of
point
you have the
because it was
most
like in a
tireless,
year. So I was like,
friendly,
okay, how could we
generous,
possibly not
and
finish it
honest
then?
attitude
But
providing
then that
unlimited
was
value
just
to the community. The
so
combo
much
of the
work
two
and
of you
so
will add
many
up to 110%
like
times
icebergs that I
110%
talked about
equals
in our Not2 newsletter
12,100.
where think you just don't know how long something's going to take until you get to it and you realize all the problems and issues that you'll have to solve. So then around Christmas 2022, a few months ago, I made the video where I apologized for not delivering on time in 2022, but it was just not the right time to release. People would not enjoy them, and it would not be a good experience. And what we're trying to do is we're not trying to create products. We are trying to create an experience. We want people to just have a good time and experience the Aegis for what they are. They're incredible aircraft. So part of that experience is definitely making sure that they are stable, making sure that we have all the documentation, we have all tutorials, and we just want to make it easy for everyone to have a good time. So later we'll probably show you a bit of the getting started page that we've been working on. You can have a look at it right now. Yeah, I've spent like hundreds of hours just developing our website. I want our website to be like a one-stop place for finding everything that you need for the E-jets or even for X-Plane in general. But you shouldn't need to look online for tutorials. You shouldn't like go into forums and ask questions. Like all the information should be on our website, and you can always talk to us as well. But yeah, we've been creating lots of different tutorials, simple with simple instructions that you can follow that will make it really quick to get used to the E-jets, because I realize a lot of people are pretty much used to Airbus and Boeing. So we just want to make it easy.
That was
So there
a
we
really
go, pretty
lovely.
much.
Yeah, that's a
Sorry
lovely
for that.
intro. It's very inspiring for me to hear that how you actually started and where you are today. And I realize that Leaf has just came in with 500 SEK. Just a message in case you didn't hear it, Leaf. He says, "Thank you guys for setting this session up together. Both of you have the most tireless, friendly, generous, and honest attitude, providing unlimited value to the community. The combo of the two of you will add up to 110 times 110. Leif, thank you very much for your kindness, sir. I appreciate it. I appreciate your kindness. I appreciate your friendship. Thank you very much for that. I really, truly appreciate it. Thank you. Marco, one thing I want to ask you before we start on the cold and dark setup. The model of this aircraft is so exquisite. And after you told me, remember I pointed out the textures here, and I told you this looks like an issue with the texture, and you told me no, that's actually from the real aircraft. So I went and actually looked at the real world Embraers, and I actually found that this is a very authentic replica of the aircraft. So how do you guys actually do this? Do you Do you normally like look at the actual aircraft drawings from the manufacturer, or do you just look at pictures and try to mimic them? How does this work?
Well, that is a great question because it is much harder than anyone would imagine. This is actually also something we talked about in the Not the newsletter because so yeah, you kind of start off with any drawings of the planes that you find, and you hope that the drawings are correct. It's not very easy to find ones, but I've had luck with finding the airport plan, airport. I forgot what the name. It's like a manual that shows the crew at the airports how to operate this plane, and they have some like nice drawings of the Embraers from the side and from the top and from all the directions. So we didn't have any official drawings from the manufacturer. We just found this, which is available online. And I started developing based on those dimensions. About a year and a half into it, I realized that these PDFs that had these drawings, someone just took the E175 and shrunk it, or like kind of modified it in a really weird way to create the E170, which I've been using to model it. So I suddenly realized the wings are in the wrong place. The wings are much wider or like longer than they should be. Just I suddenly realized by following these semi-official documents that my models were not correct, which really sucked because I had to go back and remodel a lot of it just to make sure that it all fits. And actually, just since we're looking at the cockpit here, I would like to say that initially when I wanted to make the E-Jets, I wanted to only remodel the cockpit. I wanted to leave the exterior as it was on the previous E-Jets. So I started remodeling the cockpit, but then once I got to the windows, I realized, okay, now when I have the windows in the right dimensions and right shapes, suddenly they don't fit the old models. So the old model fuselage is wrong. Okay, well then I'll have to change the fuselage. Okay, but if I change the fuselage, then I also have to change the belly because suddenly the belly doesn't perfectly fit. If I fit the belly, the wings don't fit. And here we are today, completely brand new plane. Every single screw in this plane is just remodeled from scratch. Um, so yeah, what was meant to be like a year turned out to be like 3.5 years that we've been working on this.
Wow,
And
that is a long
so
time.
yeah, but in general, it's we need to have a lot, like thousands of photos of every part of the plane, which is not always easy because people usually take the same kind of pictures. Usually they will take the same kind of point of view into the cockpit or where the pilots are looking, but nobody takes a photo of what's under the pilot's seat or what is next to it. But I need to know that because I need to model it. You know, I can't just have it like empty there. So it all came down to like really close collaboration with one pilot, a really cool guy named Mike, and he was able to take hundreds of photos for us of every single part of the plane so that we could really replicate it at a very authentic level. He even took some 3D scans with his phone, which I used to verify the dimensions that I ended up with. And yeah, I'm pretty confident that nobody has ever come this close to getting it right.
Yeah, it without a doubt. I'm known on the channel for having an eye for detail, and I love 3D models. And this model is just simply exquisite. One of the very best I have seen, really, for an add-on in a flight sim. Very, very well done. Really good job there.
Thank you so much.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do, folks. And how are you doing, chat? I just realized I haven't said hello to you guys today. Well, maybe briefly, but I haven't greeted all of you. So welcome everyone. Thank you very much for being here. I hope that you enjoy the show. I'm just really excited about learning more about the development journey of this aircraft. So here's what we're going to do today with Marko. We are going to start this aircraft from its cold and dark state, and we're going to take it for a short flight from Los Angeles International to San Francisco. And yes, we are going to be using short funnel, Mr. X short funnel for San Francisco. Here's a quick look at our charts today for the departure. This is Los Angeles, and let's see if we can bring that here. Yeah, that's us right there. As you can see, this is, by the way, the cargo area for United, but it's closer to 25 right, where we're going to be departing today. And the departure is going to be the Dark 3 through the Risen transition. So this is us here. This is runway 25. We're going to go to the Dark transition to fix it to IK, and then we're going to go to the Risen all the way to, I think, the Stocked is going to be the last waypoint in our departure out of Los Angeles, and then we're going to be heading to San Francisco through the Surfer 4, and we're going to be performing an ILS approach upon arrival. I believe our cruise altitude is 34,000 feet today, and hopefully we'll give you guys a good show. So this is going to be our flight, and with that, Marco, I think we can start with the checklist here, and we can go through the maintenance status is checked, cockpit emergency equipment, I suppose those are on board, and the electrical panel. So we're going to come here and turn on the battery 1 and battery 2, and it looks like everything else is this the correct position when you enter the aircraft, Marco? So you have all these positions?
Yes, so actually we're looking at the main safety and inspection checklist, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so at this point we're not gonna turn the batteries on. What we are gonna do is we're just gonna have we need to check that when the pilot comes into the plane that all the switches are the right position as they should be. So you can follow the whole checklist, but pretty much what you need to do is have a look at the overhead panel and make sure that all the switches are in the 12 o'clock position, except for the batteries.
Okay, which is checked.
Batteries. The electric pump A should also not be in the...
Correct,
so
which it is.
On the right side, yeah. And then the emergency lights should also be in the off position. Maybe, not sure if it was turned on. It's on the bottom left, maybe from your previous flight.
Probably,
but it should be on off. Yeah. So this is how you should come into the plane and like receive the plane.
Okay.
So that's what you want to check. And then you just want to kind of have a look around the cockpit, make sure that all the flaps are stowed, the parking brakes set, the throttles are at idle. You just want to make sure that once you start energizing the plane, it's not going to start doing things and retracting flaps and stuff. So that's what the main point of our safety maintenance checklist is. So
excellent.
Name, yeah.
So the parking brake is set, the flaps are retracted, throttles in idle detent, speed brake is disarmed. We have the wipers both in the off position, and we can come here now, and it says fuel panel. So everything here is checked. Passenger side panel as required. Windshield wipers on or off, and hydraulic panel is in the off position, so we're good there. Air conditioning pneumatic panel is checked. Passenger oxygen panel is checked. ELT switch arm. And a landing gear lever is down. Engine 1s and 2 are stopped. And speed brake lever is closed. Rat manual deploy lever is stowed. Slat flap lever verify position, which is in the idle in the retracted position. Circuit breaker panel is those are not they're
those
modeled
are not
visually.
Simulated. But
not simulated.
They're modeled.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so so now we go to the power up, and the power up we're gonna go with battery 1, and listen to those sounds, and battery 2. All right, excellent, and we can cancel the master caution so it doesn't drive us crazy, and then we can come here. Everything's good here. DVD-R test. I guess you press and hold this and then it would beep, but this is not simulated, correct?
I'm not sure about a beep. It should just not do anything, pretty much. Like when you press it, you should not get any ICAS messages.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to come down here at the passenger side. So I guess this goes to the armed position.
I'm just going to suggest one thing. Maybe it would be easier if we pop up the EFB so that everyone can see it on the screen, including me also.
All right, here we go.
So if you click on the home button on the EFB, you'll be able to get it, or through there. There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So we have the battery 1 on, battery 2 on auto. Let's see here. All right. Excellent. And then the ECAS messages check displayed. Yeah, we have those. Excellent. And the GPU button, if available, we push it. We don't have the GPU, so we'll leave it today. Fire extinguisher panel is checked.
Okay, so here, this is an important point in the checklist. So before you turn on the APU, you want to press the test button on the fire extinguisher, and you want to see 6 things illuminate on the overhead panel. So there will be the 2 levers plus the four annunciators around the switches. There we go. So that's 6 lights. And at the same time, you would look at the iCast and you would see 5 messages there. And then you would see the master caution and the ITT fire warning. So this is all going pretty deep, pretty much in what the pilots really do. You can skip that if you don't want to do it, but in general, just for all those that want to do it authentically, that's what you would be doing right before you start the APU.
All right, so that is done. We were able to verify the message in the ECAS and the APU control as required. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the APU. So since we've already checked this, so we can go on and start, and we leave it there. Now, the cool thing is here, you see the temperature here rising. Now, is the increment here realistic in terms of the speed, Marco?
I mean, it should be. Yeah.
Okay. Because I noticed it goes really fast and then starts decreasing as the APU becomes available.
To be honest, I don't remember exactly right now because when I was working on the APU, it was a long time ago. But it should be like at least close.
I see.
At least the timing should be pretty accurate.
Gotcha. I really love the cockpit ambient sounds after you turn on the APUs. Just sounds really good. And DL, welcome to Private Pilot, my friend. And we have another member. Sorry, guys, I missed it. Daniel Sid, welcome to Senior Captain. Thank you very much, guys, for your support. Appreciate it very much. All right. We can now move on to the DVDR control panel, which we've checked earlier. Annunciator's test button that I've seen this earlier today.
So bottom left of the overhead panel.
Yeah. There we go. Annunciators, and you've got all the lights here. Everything checks good. Excellent. Emergency lights selector, on, then armed. So this goes to on, then armed. And then the nav switches can go to the on position. Excellent. Hydraulic panel as required. Well, so when do we actually turn this on, Marco?
Which one?
The hydraulic pump A.
You don't have like this is a bit deep. I don't I have a feling that you don't have to use it because you just have hydraulic pump B. But there is some procedure that sometimes you have to flick the switches to turn the built-in electric, the built-in like flight controls tests, something like that. Again, it's something I worked on a long time ago. I might just have to read the manual to answer exactly.
No worries.
But you can leave it that way.
Okay. So then it says the EFB, if applicable, on. So we're done with that. And then we have the before start. I guess we will do our... so the MCDs are... Sorry. So passenger sign panel is... we're going to leave the passenger signs off for the time being until... we can turn on non-smoking, but we'll leave the fasten seatbelt until we actually refuel the aircraft. Pressurization panel. I don't think we need to do anything there, do we?
So pretty much the line, it represents what you should do. The things to the line you should do while people are boarding. And once boarding is completed, you continue below the line.
I see. Perfect.
So once doors are closed.
Excellent. Flight instruments checked. Oxygen masks are checked, and thrust levers are idle. All right.
You can actually check the oxygen mask. So on the oxygen mask, there is the test button. If you click and hold, you should see an indicator, and you should also hear the sound of the oxygen flowing through the speakers.
Ah, how cool is that? That's very
cool.
nice.
I love that one.
Very nice. I love those details. All right, excellent. So I think we can go now to the, not ground, let's go to the weight and balance. So I've got everything in my sim brief. And the sim brief, as I've indicated in the first look video, folks, is partial. So you only get the load sheet from your sim brief plan. But Marco, are we planning full integration with the actual flight plan?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to add that at some point. We are not really sure how it's done yet, so we'll just need to research it. And once we get to it, we'll be able to add that. Yeah.
Looks like we have a real world pilot with us here. It says crew rest says we fly with 3A on, turn it on before start B is back up. Oh, okay, got you.
Okay, totally fine.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thanks for that.
apologies.
All right, so we're going to download the plan, and as we can see here, we have the payload, 19,503 pounds of fuel. Block fuel is 7,200. Let's view the load sheet here. I like the fact that this is again shown here, so you have, the people in cabin A, cabin B, and what have you. So we're going to say go ahead and load the plane here. All right. And now we can start with the with programming the FMS. So we're going to bring the FMS here, and as it works in real life, according to a real world pilot, is if you click on any of these buttons, you'll go to the nav ident page, and that works exactly like it should. And we see here the date is the 9th of May 2023. This is the current time. 1907 Zulu, and ARAC 2304. So the database, ARAC database, is current, and now we can go to the route. Now 9L6. I think you told me that this is probably a helipad, correct?
Yeah.
Marco?
So the FMS looks for the nearest airport, and
I see.
it just happens to be that when we're at the end of this runway, the nearest airport happens to be a heliport. So we'll probably need to filter all the heliports out. But yeah, for now, that's nothing you have to worry about. Simply just put KLAX into it instead.
I see. All right. Perfect. And we are heading to KSF FO. Excellent. And we are Alaska, I believe 319, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll put that here into the flight ID. And now we activate the route. Activate. And now we just follow the button to the right until we are done with the entire setup. Is that the correct way of doing it?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to go to the departure. And the departure runway today is 25 right. And we are going to be departing through the dark 3 SID. Through the risen transition, and then we can apply that, and now we can enter the route. Now
I'm gonna stop you right there. I think it would be cool if we also look at the plan on the map so that people can see how we are actually building. On the MFD. So if you go in the plan mode, we'll see how the route is being built on the map, which is pretty handy because you can see what you're doing.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. So there we go. We have the, let me put this one here, and let's see. All right, let me remove the EFB for a second here, and we can move this. All right, so let me move the screen this way, and now we can bring, all right, perfect. So I'm going to put this one here, always on top. All right, perfect. So the next one is going to be a direct to Romeo Zulu Sierra. That is Romeo Zulu Sierra. And then it's going to be an airway, Vector 25. So that's Vector 25. And that goes here. And we're going to exit at Papa Romeo Bravo. Papa Romeo Bravo. Excellent. And then we're going to fly direct to Hotel Golf Tango. Hotel Golf Tango. And we're going to enter that here. Let's see here. All right, I think let's do that. I think you guys can see now how the flight plan is being built that way. All right, looks like started raining here as well. So, and then we're going to go to Surfer. So direct to Surfer. Surfer. All right, and that's not in database. All right.
No, you'll need to activate and then go to arrival.
Correct, yeah. All right, let's do that. All right, so now we're going to go to the arrival, and the runway is going to be 28 left at San Francisco. We're going to be doing an ILS, runway 28 left through the eddy transition, and then we can select the star, which is the Surfer 4, and apply. And now if we go to the flight plan, now you have everything here, and now you see that the dotted line is no longer there. It's a solid line now that we've activated the flight plan. And if we go next, just to make sure we have no discos, looks like there's one discontinuity here, which we should clear. So to do that, we're going to delete that discontinuity and activate. Now there are no discontinuities in the flight plan. Here, if we go here, and then we can cycle through it. As this is Ryzen, and this is Papa Romeo, this is Hotel Golf Tango, this is the server transition, the beginning of our star into San Francisco. Epic Follett, this is the eddy transition for the final fix for our runway. And finally, it's the turn towards San Francisco, where this is the final here, where we're going to be performing an ILS approach, runway 28 left. Perfect. We can go to perfint, and from this page, there's the tail number, performance factor. I guess we go to the next page, and this is, we need three things, as I recall from your video, Marco: the cruise altitude, the takeoff CG, and the zero fuel in order to have the profile, the climb profile.
Exactly.
All right, so the cruise altitude for this flight is 34,000 feet. 340 is set. Cruise winds are, let's see here, average wind 231.29, 231 and 29. Excellent. And takeoff CG is something we can get from here. Let's go to takeoff performance. So we are departing runway 25 right. Condition, should we put wet or dry?
I am not sure, to be honest.
Okay, well, we'll just say good to mid. All right, and the current wind is, if we go to the wind here, we have bare boss wind at 4 knots. So we'll just put 0 and 4. Okay, and the current temperature is 16 Celsius. Oh, it's kind of cool. Okay, and QNH is 3002, 3002. Enter that. We'll do flaps 2 for departure. And now we can compute that. All right, now we have both of them. Excellent. Now we have the zero fuel. We can just take off CG is 18.5, so we can continue here, 18.5. And the zero fuel is 67583. 67583. Perfect. All right, so there's two ways, folks, to do the V speeds. We have them here in takeoff performance, so you can copy these numbers into the next page, which is the landing performance, or we could go to the data link and load the speeds there. So let me show you how to do that, because probably most of you guys want to go the faster route. So we're going to go to takeoff performance. We're going to say send to FMS, and then we're going to go to the data link and say load takeoff speeds. And now if we go to performance And Takeoff, you'll see that we have V1 118, 138, and 141. And VFS, what is VFS, Marco?
VFS is, I believe it's like a one engine failed speed,
Okay, got
something like
you.
that.
I see. Okay. So we have the flaps 2, pitch trim is 4.5 up, and all is looking good here. So I think we're pretty much done with the FMS setup, aren't we?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So we have everything here. Now, folks, you see the profile here, and if we go to map, now you can see this is the departure from KLAX, and you can see all the restrictions here, which of course, once we have VNAV enabled, will respect all the restrictions up to the entire flight, as a matter of fact. So very cool. We can go through the checklist. Let me set the altimeter real quick, which is 3002. Where is it here? All right, so let's remove that now. 300.
Can I have a very ignorant question that's going to
Sure.
reveal to everyone that I don't know any other plane than an Embraer properly? Do you see the altitude restrictions on all the other planes as well on the VSD?
You see it, yes, you do. On an Airbus, there is a button that says constraints. It's in the EFIS control panel, and you have to actually press it in order to see the restrictions.
Okay.
Yeah. Not all the planes have it, but I know Boeing, at least Boeing and Airbus, do have those restrictions. They are shown in the display.
Cool.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
that's set. You bet. All right, so we are set here, and we can go back to our checklist. And now the fuel quantity is checked. MCDU. By the way, the fuel quantity, is it when you set it in the? We got it from SimBrief, so we don't really need to do anything.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
loaded it through the AFDF.
Right. The McDo is set. The trim panel is set 0 and 0. The doors and windows are closed. External lights, red beacon. We need to turn that on.
Sorry, did you actually set the trim?
The trim is still a 4, so it's 4.5. All right,
Yeah.
4.5 up. All right, that's set now.
Perfect.
And external lights, red beacon light is on. Emergency parking brake as required. All right, for engine start, we're going to start engine number 2, then run. Engine parameters monitor, and I guess we'll repeat the same thing for the engine number 1. All right, perfect. So now we'll just make sure that everything, there are no ground equipment around the aircraft. We're not going to use better pushback. I think we'll just taxi out, and that's the runway right there. So we'll just taxi out and make a turn and head over to the taxiway to the runway. So, all right, perfect. Let's go ahead and start. We're going to open the... Again, guys, notice the nice sounds here. Now, Marco, are those sounds recorded from the real aircraft, or are they synthetic sounds using FMOD?
Most of them are, not all of them. It would be impossible to get absolutely every sound. Like, I think, like the seat sounds when those are moved, those are a thing like the A220. But a lot of them... Most of them are, yes.
Wow, that's cool. All right, perfect. All right, so we're good here, and let's go ahead and start the engine number 2 first. Run and start. We'll hold it for a little bit, and then we can release. Now, Marco, sometimes I see ignition A, and sometimes I see ignition B. Is there any difference?
So that's just randomized pretty much, so that there is less strain on each one of the igniters. However, I challenge anyone to find out. There is a condition that I use to randomize them, so I challenge anyone to find it and then send me a message.
Wow, cool. All right, excellent. So it looks like we have a good start on engine number 2, and let's very quickly listen to those. Listen to those sounds, guys. Look at the animation. I love the engine, the animations of the blades inside the engine there. think it's done quite nicely. Very nice.
Thank you.
All right. And we can start engine number 2. Again, we'll hold. And 3 seconds. Release. We'll close the guards. And we can go back here. Where ground equipment is removed. Slats and flaps are... We're going to go for flaps 2. So listen to those sounds, guys. Just brilliant. I love those sounds. All right, so flaps are set. Engine is coming up. And let's see, flight controls. Now, do we have to go here to the systems and flight control check? Is that where we do the flight control?
Yes. So you would check if your like surfaces are moving.
Ah, look at that. All right, full up, full down, full left. How cool is that? All right.
And
pedal.
What's really cool is when you start the AC power, and on real plane there are a few more conditions to do like the built-in flight controls test, but I pretty much added it so that when you start the AC power, so when you turn the APU on or the GPU on, if you go to this page, you'll see how all the surfaces are testing themselves. It looks really cool. I'm very proud of that. Somebody told me when I posted a video of that on YouTube, like stop focusing on these things, they're not important. And I just had a free day, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna like do something that's fun.
Oh, how cool.
So...
That's very cool. All right, looks like we have a good start on both engines. Our flaps are set. Back to the flight control is checked. And now we can actually do the before takeoff checklist. So we can start taxiing to the runway. We're going to turn on the nose taxi lights. Everything else is set up. Did we miss anything?
I think we're good.
All right, perfect. Let's release the parking brake. We need to click this guy. So it starts calculating the time. And we're going to set this to rejected takeoff, correct?
Yes. The elapsed time will actually start on its own. Once
okay,
you take
cool.
off.
All right, and the APU goes off now or before takeoff?
Oof. I'm not sure, but I believe you can turn it off because I can't think of why we would need it right now.
All right, so APU is shutting down. Again, I like the messages that appear here and how everything is displayed here. Every single thing that happens to the aircraft is displayed. And what I've also noticed, folks, is, and again, this is, I've watched, by the way, a real-world Embraer cold and dark startup, and the sequence, once you're done with a stage of the flight, it kind of changes things here, so it's not so cluttered. So it will, if you don't need something, it will remove it from the display. And this is true to life. It's done exactly like it's done in the real aircraft. So that's a job well done there, Marko.
Thank you.
All right, parking brake is released, and the aircraft just wants to go. Is that accurate, Marko?
Yeah, that's exactly how it is on the real planes.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes the pilots actually have to use brakes to maintain the taxi speed.
Oh, wow. Nice. And do those wipers work?
Well, they should, and I set them up
Yeah.
like, twice at least.
How cool.
What I don't like is that they're not synced, because in X-Plane, the way it's set up in X-Plane 12, whenever you press one wiper, it will start, and whenever you press the other one, it will start independently. I think they should always be synced, so that's something we'll need to do, like a custom setup for the wipers.
I see. Well, at least it wipes the it wipes the rain off the windshield, so it does work, which is pretty cool. I love the rain effect, by the way, in X-Plane. It's something I think they've done very well.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we can turn it off. It's a bit distracting, so we'll leave it there. All right. Check this out, guys. Look at that beautiful looking aircraft. You have got to love that. Look at those engines, just so unique. Look at that. Beautiful texturing all around. Just really fantastic, fantastic 3D model.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
All right, we're coming up to the runway here. By the way, folks, this airport is default X-Plane 12. Yeah, this is a default Los Angeles International. I think Laminar has done a really good job with the scenery in X-Plane 12. Benny is asking, when is the release?
Soon. Race really is soon. Like, I don't want to say a date because then if something goes wrong on the day before, then everyone's gonna be angry. It's not tomorrow. We'll see about the day after tomorrow. Maybe Friday. We'll see. But it like soon really means soon.
All right.
If
So
the gods of flight simulators are willing, and because it really is nerve-wracking. There are so many parts to it. Everything needs to work seamlessly together, and suddenly, you know, you load a new version, and suddenly one thing you notice is not working, even though it was working before, and so you're just like, oh my god, why is this not working now? I don't know. So it's really kind of like always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but I think we're in a pretty solid state right now.
Excellent. Any information on pricing, or is that something we cannot share at this point?
I think I could probably share it. So we will have several different options. Either you can buy the jets separately, in which case they will be $75, or you can buy them all together, so 4 jets, and they will be $135. If you buy the whole family, you will also receive the Lineage 1000, which we will release later because I didn't finish the cabin yet. And now we also have 2 different kinds of discounts. So for all the customers who previously bought any of our older E-jets, so the E195 or E175 version 2 or 2.5 now, they will get a 15% discount towards the whole family. And if anyone buys an individual E-jet, for example, this one, the E175, once you buy it, you will then also get an automatic discount of 50% towards the E-Jets family. So pretty much if you buy 1 jet, you can then get the whole rest of them for $60 or $67, I believe. All of this, if it sounds a bit like a lot of information, it's all going to be on our product page, explained in details. I think I'm even going to make a picture to make it very explicit and very easy for people to understand.
Excellent. Thanks for that. I appreciate it, Marko. Yeah.
Thank you.
By the way, guys, for me, I will go for the bundle. Yeah, I'll just buy the whole family. Yeah, I think it makes sense to, because if you buy one and then you decide you want to buy another, that's going to be more than the price of the entire family. So for me, I'll just go for the whole thing. Although, by the way, I have to tell you guys that Marko has given me a copy here with the even with the Lineage. So, but I'm definitely going to go and buy it because xcrafts is a company that deserves to be supported. So I will definitely purchase my copy as well.
That's very nice of you to say. Thank you.
You're most welcome, Marko. All right, so brakes temperature are checked, and ECAS, we don't have any problems here. All looking good. Transponder, we can go to TARA. All right, excellent. And takeoff configuration. All right, now for the takeoff configuration, we forgot to set our altitude. So let me go ahead and do that now. We're going to go to 30, let me go to the outer circle. So 34,000 feet is the speed. We're going to set our speed to 180 knots. There we go, 180. All right, 180 knots. All right, now we're going to turn on the flight director. Then we're going to go to nav. We're going to select VNAV. And we're going to also select the auto throttle. And we'll click on the toga button here once we are in the runway, on the runway. So let me release the parking brake. And let's make sure that the strobe lights are on. And the nose lights are all on. And we are good to go. The before takeoff checklist is complete, and we are good to go. All right. Notice, guys, that you have now LNAV and VNAV here, and these are our speeds. And watch what happens here. We're going to, by the way, engage the autopilot at about 400 feet, and then we'll monitor the FMA. Now, one interesting fact that I've asked Marko about before the stream is why we do not have those lights illuminated. And the answer to this is that most airlines actually select this option because they want their pilots to concentrate on the FMA here and not look for the lights and divide their attention. I hope I said that accurately, Marko.
Yeah, absolutely right.
All right, we're gonna start the clock. And toga button is pressed. Now you can see roll takeoff there. Let's set our view. And there we go. We're just gonna give it a little power here and then listen to those sounds. And now you can see that now auto throttle has engaged. You can see this takeoff in green and blinking. And we're gonna rotate at, we lost the speeds here on the, so was it 130? Oh, that's V1, okay.
Oh, it disappears once the tape starts moving.
I see.
And then you'll see the bugs up there on the tape.
Right, D1, rotate.
Rotate. V2.
Positive rate, gears going up. Right, try to stay on the flight director there. 400 feet. Autopilot engaged. And now you can see that this is LNAV. And by the way, at 1200 feet, you'll see that VNAV will be, it is currently armed, but not active. And at 1200 feet, it will activate. Now you can see flight change, and that is in magenta, indicating that now VNAV is active. Right, we're approaching 180 knots, and what we'll do is we're going to retract the flaps 1. Right, flaps 1, and we're going to increase our speed now to 210 knots. Come on. All right, 210 knots. You can see the aircraft is following the profile that it had calculated. So at 210 knots, Marko, we would retract the flaps and go to 240, correct? Or 250?
250, yeah, 250 yeah. Below 10,000.
All right, so 250.
By the way, the vertical profile for the climb, that is kind of calculated in the most simplistic way. The real FMS would run apparently its own simulation based on all the situation or the performance right now. So if you're flying a bit below or above the vertical profile on the climb, just don't worry about it. That is just our own reference, but yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
I see. And as you can see here, everything is looking in tip-top shape. After takeoff checklist, landing gear is up, slats and flaps are 0, and the after takeoff checklist is complete. Climb APU as required. The APU is actually off. Air conditioning pressurization is checked. At transition altitude, yeah, also we're not there yet, so we'll just wait a little while. And in the meantime, let's do a quick flyby. Listen to those engine sounds, folks. Oh, yes. Wow. Gotta love it. Cloudy departure out of Los Angeles. Nice wing flex. Beautiful sounds. Incredibly detailed 3D model. There isn't anything not to like about this aircraft.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, look at those wings. All right. Continuing the climb. I love the fact that this aircraft is highly automated. All right, Marco, we have a few questions from the community. So here's one of the questions says, what is one major feature you would like to have added but couldn't for the initial release of the E-Jets family?
So I think we managed to squeeze in most of the things we wanted to add. I think the one thing we couldn't was the FMS speeds, which is if you look at the speed knob, underneath there is a switch. Right now we are in manual speeds, but you can normally also switch to FMS speeds, which is a mode in which the FMS just feeds, will pretty much take control over the speed knob, and it will feed the correct speeds based on the phase of the flight, based on your flaps retracted, or if they're retracted or not, based on the gear, and so on. However, this has to be absolutely stable and always give us the right speeds, because we cannot have people suddenly nosedive because something changed in the speed, or the speed went to 0 or anything, and then VNAV would freak out because it's like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do with the speed right now? So we just decided, and also that was actually a suggestion from a real E-Jet instructor. He said, just let people manage the speeds manually for now. They will also learn how to manage the speeds, which I think is really important, so that people understand why at certain points we change the speeds. And we will simply add the FMS speeds later, hopefully as soon as possible, but I really can't tell exactly when, because we first need to see all the bug reports, all the things that we might have to be fixing after the release. So hard to tell, but that's definitely the number one thing I wish we had. There's just one more thing that I wish we could have added, but we couldn't, which is the steep approach mode, which is really famous, for example, in the London City Airport, where you need to land at about 5.5 degrees, I believe, instead of 3-degree glide slope. And so you need to have the flaps, so you have to have the spoilers open during the approach to increase drag, so that your throttles are moved more forward, or they're at a higher N1, so that in case of of a go-round, you don't have to wait for the engines to spool up, but they're already pretty high. And so I would love to have that, so that's something hopefully we'll try to add relatively soon as well, because I think it will just be super fun to try out.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's those are definitely very nice features to have. Generally speaking, another question is from the community: what is the roadmap for the aircraft in the future? So, what can we expect moving forward, other than the speed, the managed speed, and the steep descent?
Yeah. So, my ultimate goal is just to be able to provide the best possible E-Jet simulation always, forever, pretty much ideally. So for us, the release is only the beginning of what we're trying to create here. I would love us to add all the missing things and more, and just make sure that people are having a great experience with them. So we'll definitely keep working on the E-Jets for a long time coming, I would presume. However, so the roadmap, I would see that initially we will try to fix any major issues or bugs that we might have. Fingers crossed, there won't be too many. We might add a few missing features. Not sure if the FMS speed will make it, but then we'll need a break. We'll need a short vacation for a month or two, because we've been working for so long, pretty much non-stop, and it's been very, very tiring and exhausting, to the point of it's just too much. So we will definitely need a bit of time off once the planes are stable and we know that people can enjoy them and use them. Another I believe that the next step would then be to go back to the ERJs and make sure to update them to X-Plane 12 fully, because right now they are just the X-Plane 11 ERJs that can load in X-Plane 12, but that's not exactly what we want. So I want to update the ERJs so that they're fully compatible with X-Plane 12. We will also add the new nav map like we have here in the E-Jets. We will also update the FMS. Now that is something that I'm not sure yet how it's gonna go down either. We might use the FMS from X-Plane because it's the exact same one that is on the real ERJs, but I've not even used it or tried it. It's very similar to the one that we've developed. So I'll see how that works, if it works or not. But we might do that, or we might convert our FMS to the one that is on the ERJs.
I see.
And yeah, I would probably add the EFB and any other like new features so that we bring them to a similar level. Like the E-Jets will still be more advanced, I would say, because they're also more complex in general. But yeah, I just want us to be able to provide these two families and make sure that whoever buys them doesn't have to think about, okay, are they okay? Are they fine? Like, am I going to regret this? Because I get that it's really difficult to buy something online that you can't really return. So I want people to know that if they buy it, it's going to be quality products.
Excellent, excellent. And it is a quality product thus far. I think we're at the transition altitude. Just folks, once we were at 10,000 feet, we changed the speed to 170 knots, which is the climb speed. And we just arrived at the transition altitude, so I've set the altimeter to standard. We have a question from Benny. He's a channel member. He's asking, are you bringing this to MSFS? And another question from D. Illy, is this licensed or at least got a blessings from Embraer?
So I guess I'll start with the first question. We are not bringing this into MSFS because we don't have the capacity or time to do that. We are a very small team of 5 people, and most of the work is done by 2 of us, really. That's why it also took that long. But so we don't have time to guarantee good quality products for X-Plane and for another simulator. Now I am collaborating with Flight Sim Studio. We are providing our models to them, and they are dedicated to bring the Aegis to MSFS. Now they have released the pre-release version, which is a beta. It is really not easy developing planes for flight simulators, and especially for one that is relatively really new, like MSFS, where things constantly keep changing. For developers, they have to change things just because there's a sim update. So you've been working on something for weeks, suddenly you have to start over. So I totally get that people would maybe be comparing these 2 products, and fair enough, they're totally different kind of products right now. But I'm hopeful that the guys will be able to bring it to at least a similar level of what we are going for here. Maybe not exactly at that level, but definitely at a reliable state and enjoyable. And sorry, what was the second question?
Is this licensed or at least have the blessings from Embraer?
Not right now. It's really not. I've been trying to reach out to them for a long time, and it's not easy, just because they are very busy doing other things. It would be very nice to have it licensed, but I don't think it's going to add any more like enjoyment to our customers. So we'll see how it goes.
I agree with you there, Marko. Yeah. Are there any plans to develop the E195 E2?
So possibly in a distant future. So right now there are not that many E2s in the world in general. So there are very few pilots flying them. So they're very scarce on like resources. Like it's very difficult for us to find any manuals or any stuff like just documentation, and very hard for us to find pilots who would be willing to dedicate a time and collaborate with us and take photos and videos and explain things. So from that point of view, we would not be able to develop them at this level. At the same time, because there are so many more E1s, I think we just want to first focus on making sure that these ones are done properly, so that real pilots can just use them and just train at home if they want to, like certain situations. There's a lot more pilots that fly the E1s. Now, I did create the models in a software called Houdini, which is actually used for VFX, because I studied VFX, so I learned how to use that software, and that allows me to model things procedurally, which means, it's flying. We're flying somewhere sideways. No, we're good.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Sorry. Okay, it's a bit odd. Wonder if that's the wind or something. We'll see.
It might be. Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, I am pretty much ready to. I will be able to create the E2s once I get to it, but this is really distant future.
I see. That's fair enough. There are a couple more questions. I'm just taking a look here at the profile and the altitude. I think we're still okay. The aircraft is continuing the climb. It's a little bit slower, but I think it's all right. Okay.
Yeah, there's some pretty strong crosswind here.
It looks like, yeah. Another question, what are other plans for xCraft? Are you going to develop any long-haul aircraft?
So yeah, I think like I kind of answered that question with my previous
I think you did, yeah.
answer, yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, we are not planning any other new add-ons because it really takes years to get it right, and we don't want, like, we just want to make sure that the 10 jets that we are making, that they're going to be perfect.
I have a question for you, Marko, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but it just kind of occurred to me. How helpful has laminar research been in the development of this Aegis family?
Well, I've not really had to interact with them almost at all during this. Just a little bit when I was trying to learn about, X-Plane 12. The ways that when I was trying to learn about all the things that changed and new ways of developing things. Also, when I was reaching out to Philip to ask about RNAV approaches, which are like X-Plane's autopilot is able to fly RNAV approaches, and even like RNP and curved approaches. It's just not really exposed to us developers. Oh. Definitely not in any easy, it sounds very cryptic. It's very difficult for us to access those functions. So that's something we've been trying to talk to, and Philip's been helpful. Unfortunately, I think he's too smart for me, so I didn't understand a lot of what he was saying. But once we have the time to get back to it, I'll just go back and have a chat with him, and I'm sure we'll be able to learn more and hopefully implement those.
I see. Those wing views are just great. I love it.
Yeah, so a lot of people are asking, are the two winglets available? Yes, the E175 has two different winglet configurations, and you can change those on the go in the settings. Settings menu.
Right here. So I am using the extended winglets, and if you remove this, then you get the regular version.
Exactly.
All right, let me go here and add just to see. All right, there we go. All right, all's looking good so far. We're about 4,000 feet from our cruise altitude, and everything is looking good. We can actually put in the landing information as we continue the climb. It's a very short flight, so I'm going to come here, folks, and we're going to go to perf. We're going to go to the landing page, landing in it. Again, we can load the speeds exactly the same way, but we're going to go to the landing performance page here in the EFB, and we're going to select the arrival runway, which is 28 left, condition, we'll assume it's dry, and we can look at the wind from SimToolkit Pro. So if we go here and select, there we go. So the current wind is 280-13. Woo, it's gonna be rough. All right, 280-13. Okay, and the temperature at San Francisco is currently 16 Celsius. QNH is 3003, so 3003. And now for the landing weight, if we go and take up takeoff performance 74792, we'll assume about 73. That's what do you think, Marco? That's reasonable, isn't it?
Yes. I'm not sure how much the weight is right now.
Yeah, I figure we'll 1.3 tons for the trip fuel. And let's do flaps full, reverse, all operational. Icing is no. We can say compute. And once...
Actually, I feel like on most flights, they're landing on flaps 5.
okay.
Let's
do
this
that.
also feels like it changes from operator to operator and country to country. But what I've heard is mainly it's flaps 5.
All right, so we can also, I always like to put all the information here. So we're going to go for the, by the way, you can now just say send FMS and load your speeds. But we're actually going to complete the landing in it as well. So the landing temperature is going to be 16 Celsius. Done. Flaps 5 for the arrival. Approach types, Cat 1, ice, no icing. Landing weight is 73,000. And the wind is going to be 280-13, 28013. And there we go. You have the crosswind and looks like a tailwind. Does that indicate a tailwind?
That's a great question. I'm not sure right now.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's relative to a position of the runway or us. I'm really not sure now.
I see. All right. Well, we have everything here, and all we need to do now is say send to FMS. We go to the data link. We load our V speeds, and we're done with the McDo setup for the arrival. And we can now remove that. Okay. Now, one more thing we need to do, as I understand this, Marco, is that on the real Embraer, when you are about 150 nautical miles off from your destination and the approach is an ILS approach, it would automatically select the radio frequency for the ILS. And this is not currently simulated in this version. Is that correct?
That's correct. I have to admit.
Okay, so we'll have to.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely want to. Yeah, we'll have to do that, but that's something we want to add relatively soon after the release because it's pretty straightforward.
I see. Excellent. So here's what we'll do. We're going to come to the radios, and we're going to go and consult Navigraph. By the way, this is us right here, so we still have quite a bit before we arrive, about 195 nautical miles. But it's a good idea to just set everything up here. So I'm going to go to San Francisco. We're going to select the approach. We're going to go to 28 left, and we're take a look here at our approach. And as you can see here, that we need to be at 1,800 feet. That's the initial approach altitude, with decision height 213. And the ILS frequency is 109.55 with a final approach course of 284 degrees. Right, so 109.55. We'll set that 109.55. Okay, it's set and cross-check. Excellent. Looks like it's already set from the previous flight. So we have it all set here, and we are good. Now, I know one of the questions that always come up, Marco, is is this aircraft study level? Is this aircraft, how is the depth of system simulation? And I know that this is a highly subjective term that is overused, and it means different things to different people. But if we were to actually say on a percentage scale, how accurate this, or how many systems are actually simulated on this xcrafts, 100% being, everything is simulated, which we know isn't, but how authentic it is percentage-wise to the real aircraft in terms of its systems?
I mean, even that is a very difficult question. I think I would struggle to answer that, but as I said, I will never say if something is study level or not, just because it really is relative. Like, to someone who's been flying for 2 years or someone who's flying for 20 years, study level means something completely different. To a real pilot, it will also mean something completely different. So what I said is, this is an authentic level aircraft. Pretty much you will interact with all the systems exactly like you would in real life. Now, we have the flight controls check, for example, the built-in self-test in the beginning. Now, is that actually doing something to the plane? Not really, but you can interact with it. You can see what it would do on the real plane, and you wouldn't really see or feel anything on the real plane anyway, but it would actually calculate things and do things. We're not doing that, but we're providing the front end of the experience of flying these jets. And I think we're, it's really hard to tell, but if we were 80% there, that would be great. We really focused on making sure that the autopilot, the VNAV, the FMS, that those are as close as we can, because that's what people mostly interact with. So I guess hopefully that will be enough of an answer.
Perfect. Bill Barrett is asking, any failures simulated?
Yeah, not right now. Apart from just the normal failures that you can just randomly trigger in from X-Plane, those will all work. But a lot of people have been asking this, or a few people, and to them I told them it's taken 3.5 years to make sure that things work right. Now, to make things work, to break things right also, it's even a whole nother level of just a can of worms. So I really salute all of those developers who've managed to create authentic and failures. I don't think that's something that we would want to do, just because it would take so much time and effort. Only few people would really benefit from that. Instead, I think it's much better if we just focus our time and effort into something that everyone will benefit from.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that philosophy without a doubt. And even for example, on the circuit breakers, I know some of the add-ons get criticized for example, not having the circuit breakers. Now, it would be great to have them, but very, very few people actually use the circuit breakers. So yeah, it wouldn't make sense to spend a lot of time and effort to develop something that's going to be used by about 2% of the community.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much, Leaf. This stream deserves all the appreciation we can give, as always, with Q8 and Marko. Well, thank you very much, Leaf. That's very kind of you.
I feel like he's one of our super fans, really. He's really a really nice guy. I really appreciate him.
Leaf is a gem of a person, and he's been a friend for a very, very long time. In fact, there was a brief time where I decided I wanted to quit doing, content creation altogether on YouTube. So I quit actually for a period of 2 or 3 months, I think. And Leaf was amongst many others. He was one of the reasons I came back. He used to send me constant emails to get me to change my mind. So yeah, he's a gem of a person. We have a question here from Leonardo Godfrey. Liveries included with the E175. Those are, I think, 5 liveries.
There are 8 liveries actually
8 liveries.
included.
Okay.
So let me quickly pull up the product page so that I can tell you exactly. So we have the default white livery, then we have Horizon, then we have American Eagle, American Airlines, we have Delta by SkyWest, then we have JetBlue, Then we have United by Mesa, I believe. Sorry, I'm just looking at the photos of the tails, so I don't remember the operator of the United one. Then we have KLM and Austrian. Austrian I included, even though it's probably not that popular. It's just because it's the only Embraer I ever flew in my life. So I've only ever been on an Embraer like twice as a passenger, and it was a bizarre experience because it's something that very few people in the world would ever experience. Like, imagine knowing something down to the screw in the cockpit, but never actually seeing it in real life. You know, never having the sense of scale of the thing. So when I came to the plane, I literally hugged the fuselage, which must have looked really weird for everyone in front of me and behind me. But I was so excited. And yeah, it was much smaller than I thought. It's tiny, actually. It feels pretty small in the cabin because you only got the two seats next to each other. But yeah, that's why I included the Austrian. And yeah, so there we go. And KLM, don't know if I mentioned. So that's 8 liveries that will be available by default. And then we also will have around like 20 additional liveries created by some community painters. And I always hated the fact that people don't know where to find the liveries, and everyone's asking like, hey, is this livery available or not? So I decided to make a Google spreadsheet which is going to be available on the forums, in our like liveries thread, and on our website, where anyone who makes a livery, we're just gonna add a link to their livery and a name and a date. So anyone who's gonna look for liveries, that's like the one place to go. Just have the whole spreadsheet and you can see it, and it's gonna be very easy, I think. So yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, appreciate it. Folks, we are approaching top of descent, as you can see here, and very clearly on the descent profile here you see TOD. I've reset the MCP altitude to 1800 feet because we don't have ATC today, so we're just going to let the aircraft do its thing. You will notice that it will respect the altitudes, all the constraints here. You can see VNAV here now, the glide indication here, and as it moves to the middle, once it starts, you see path here now, so now it's going to begin the descent as we arrive into the top of descent. Works beautiful, just like it should. And
this is so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, like this is so complicated to get this right. It's unbelievably complicated. So it's so cool seeing this work. Like, if Steve is watching this, who made this, like, I applaud him, and everyone should applaud him, because this is insane.
Every time, you know, when I reach top of descent and I see this little tape showing, I say, God, I love this. It's just really, really cool. Yeah, let's take a quick look at the outside, folks. Here, as we go, look at this beauty of an aircraft, guys. And here's a flyby. Very nice wing views there. So, I'll tell you guys, in terms of having an add-on for X-Plane 12, this add-on, the E-Jets family by xcrafts, in my view, has an exquisite and authentic 3D model. The sounds are done very well. They're very high quality sounds. The texturing overall, the inside, the outside, the passenger cabin is done very, very well. The depth of system simulation is done to, again, a high degree. So, by the way, I'm sure you guys have noticed how the pages have changed now during the different phases of flight. So you'll see here that, and yeah, we can see that the time started automatically here. So everything changes as the aircraft changes its phase. And the VNAV is done so well. All the displays here in the FMA, the depth of that is done, I think, to a very high standard. So, in terms of,
thank you.
You're most welcome. In terms of really what this add-on brings, if I were to review this aircraft as it is today, I would give it a final score of 8.5 out of 10. that would be my score for the aircraft, and this is my honest opinion. It's really an excellent aircraft, and that puts it in the in the silver category. Definitely receives the Q8 pilot seal of approval. And I remember when I first got the aircraft, as I was beta testing the aircraft, Marko had asked me, he said, honestly, Sam, what do you think? How would you rate the aircraft? And I told him right now I would give it a 7 out of 10. But then there were a lot of things that were not done, and so he said, yeah, that's a fair score. But yeah, right now I give it an 8.5, and probably once we have the managed speed and the steep descent and some of the other stuff, I think this aircraft really is going to be one of the best add-ons available for X-Plane. In
That's amazing. Thank you so much for saying that. It really means a lot. Yeah, that's incredible, really, after all of this work. Sorry, one quick thing. We're overspeeding right now, so we want to go to knots, and we want to go to 180, actually.
Okay,
that's why we are suddenly slowing down, or actually leveling off, because VNAV is trying to slow us down, so it's going to pitch up. So yeah,
all right.
And just click in the middle of the speed knot to get the knots.
Ah, we went too far. All right, to 180. Let me use the
high speed.
All right. There
High
we go.
speed. High speed.
See, guys, even that works. Yeah. All right.
Okay, let's see how the VNAV is going to recover
Yeah.
from this bump. It's a good test, actually. You know, it's a good stress test, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, it is doing what it's supposed to do.
I think you're at 180. You want to be at 280 right now.
280, yeah?
280, yeah.
Well, that's good because it's going to want to descend more, so that will... There we go.
Yeah, and so on our website, in the demo flight page, I created like a graphic of the speed management to make it easy for people to understand when things should be changed. As we scroll all the way down, then we will see, yeah, we'll be able to see exactly that. And also keep in mind that this plane in general, yeah, you're almost all the way down, pretty much the fourth notch from the bottom. The plane takes a while to slow down, so make sure to manage your speeds before, like in advance. For example, you want to hit 10,000 feet at 250 knots, so make sure to decrease the speed from 280 down to 250, you know, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 feet before, just to make sure that you hit that on time.
Ah, look at that. I love that. That's very good.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm thinking I will create something similar. Well, I'll probably do that tomorrow with VNAV. So I want to represent, like, explain in a simple ways how VNAV is operated. So I'll probably create something like that, just show which are the flight modes and what you want to see on the PFD while you're in VNAV and during different stages of the flight, just to make it easy again for everyone.
I really like this, Marko. I really like what you've done here. I think it's very legible. It's very clear to read, and it's got a wealth of information. So that's very, very good. That's really good to have.
Yeah, and we also have video of the whole flight, which might
yeah,
be
you've got
easier
old videos here
for people to follow as well. So yeah, you know, if you just watch the tutorial, any of them, you will be able to learn pretty quickly how to operate this plane, even though you've maybe never sat in an Embraer.
Yeah, it's really lovely to see all this documentation. So guys, basically, when you purchase this aircraft, you don't really have to come to the Q8 Pilot channel for the tutorials.
Sorry for taking away your job then.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Oh, actually, I see we have speed brakes. open still.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Let's
We
close
do. We
those.
do. Oh, yeah, we do. All right. All right. So I think VNAV has recovered pretty well.
Yeah.
We are looking good here. And now, when we reach 10,000 feet, do we then reduce the speed to 250 knots?
Yeah, or a bit prior, so that as you reach 10,000 feet, you're already within
I
the
see. Okay.
legal limit.
We're approaching the transition altitude. I believe we are 300. Let's just take a quick look here. Matar 3003. Okay. So let's do that now. 3003. All right. And we can come to our friendly checklist. I think send auto brake selector. We forgot to do that, so let's do that. Should we do low or medium?
Let's do medium.
All right, medium. And landing data is set. Approach, passenger sign panel. You know what? Let's go ahead and turn those on because I know I'm going to forget them eventually. External lights, that's at 10,000 feet. Altimeters are set. Approach 8 frequencies and course. That's okay. Everything is set. So, okay, before landing. All right. The checklists are those real world checklists, or are they just sufficient for operating the aircraft?
No, they're real.
Oh, okay.
Every operator has a custom set of checklists. So it was kind of, I was, asking all the pilots, okay, can you give me your checklist? They were all a bit different. So we decided to go for the official manufacturer's SOP, so that we have, kind of like the middle ground. However, anyone can customize those checklists, so you can write anything you want in there. If you want to write Harry Potter, the whole book in there, you can. And we have, again, a tutorial that shows exactly how to operate the EFB, how to customize the checklists, how to, send data to FMS. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool. I like that. I like
I'm
the
pretty
EFB.
Yeah, the EFB is really useful. Like, what I like is that you don't have to download any other plugins to kind of get it all. Like, you have it all around you. The FMS, the EFB, you get all the data, you have all the takeoff performance, all the landing performance, the checklists. You can go to Avatab, but you don't really need anything extra, and you get the whole package.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's very important in modern add-ons. I think to have an electronic flight bag, and it's done quite nicely. I like it. Now, will you have the different? So with the different E195 and the E190, will you have different performance data?
Yeah. That's all based on the currently loaded. Yeah.
All right, we are approaching 14,000 feet, and we're almost there now.
If people who have had the ERJs, they will know that we always like to put a lot of personality into our product. So you'll also find Easter eggs all around the planes. Not as many as in the ERJs just yet, but I'm sure I'll add more. But you'll definitely find a carrot somewhere, and I also added some hidden QR codes that if you scan with your phone on the screen, you'll be taken to some links or like a video. You'll have to explore that. So the cabin is definitely a cool place to be as well. Yeah, I even made the loose parts of the cabin shake in turbulence, so the trolleys will shake, the tapes next to the doors will shake and wave, and the curtains. So that's all quite fun. It only happens really in it's noticeable in turbulence mainly, but yeah.
Oh, look at that cabin. Very, very nicely done. Yeah. xcrafts. Yay. You know what would be nice, Marco, is to have like the flight plan shown here on some of these TVs.
Well, yeah, I just don't know how to get that, honestly. Like, we would need a special plugin that would draw the whole map and the route. That's actually really not easy. And if we do have that, we'll also want to have that on the EFB, so that kind of like on the what we have on the Avatar already, but
I see.
something like the real world map kind of looking things. Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. It's a lovely cabin. And by the way, folks, I know one of the big things that you will be wondering about is the performance.
Sorry, one sec. I think we're gonna be
Yeah.
around 10,000, so let's just decrease the speed to
All right.
250
Okay.
on time. Perfect.
Right, 250 knots. And we'll leave the lights for now. So I know, guys, you're going to be asking about the performance and, you know, how is the FPS and all that good stuff. The performance, based on my experience, is similar to the Tolus. And the Tolus, all of the lineup of the Tolus aircraft is probably the best optimized for performance in X-Plane 12. And this one performs, in terms of FPS, it's just similar to Tolus. So again, it's quite optimized for performance. I've never had any issues with the FPS or anything like that. All right, we're approaching 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and turn on our landing lights. And let's go back to our checklist. And the approach checklist passenger panel is set. External lights are on. Altimeters are set. Approach aids are done. And then we have the before landing. So we are looking good. And all right, so now the speed remains. I think this turn, I think there's a passenger cabin is.
Low and tight. Tray tables are up and locked. and
Yeah,
seat backs are in their
check
upright
that
position.
out.
I'll be collecting any remaining service items you'd like to discard as part of our eco program. We're committed to recycling aluminum.
So you're
plastic,
talking about the
paper,
performance,
and
and that was actually something I was thinking about from day one, just because knowing that I would be modeling something this complex and this detailed, naturally that will take a lot of power to render, and so I had to kind of approach that from the beginning, which is really important to think about when you're modeling these things from the beginning, because once you start modeling and then everything is too detailed, like unnecessarily, it's too difficult to go back and just fix it. You can't just flick a switch and then improve the performance. It's all about like the whole workflow. And so I spend a lot of time and effort on making sure that the performance is as good as possible, but still give you, you know, like maximize the details really. So all the areas that are right in front of you, like the yoke and the glare shield panel, and they will have a higher resolution of the textures in favor of other parts that you don't see that often. For example, you know, the front of the glare shield under the windshield, that doesn't need to have that high of a resolution. So everything is optimized to death, pretty much. Again, I wrote like lots of articles about that in our Noto newsletter. So if anyone's interested, you should definitely subscribe and check them out. But yeah, that was really important for me, and it was really scary for the first time when I loaded all the objects in X-Plane to see if, okay, is X-Plane gonna load or not? It's gonna crash. But it works great, I think, so I'm very happy with that.
No, it's very good. Yeah, performance very good. I can vouch for the performance. I've reduced the speed now to 210 knots as we get
Perfect.
closer. Yeah, I think I'll let you guide me through the speeds as we arrive into San Francisco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're doing good right now. And VNav, I'm just really impressed with how the VNav is programmed. And I've seen a lot of aircraft over the years. I've flown a lot of aircraft, including, by the way, some of the Flight Factor aircraft. And VNav on this aircraft is done very, very well. Very well. I think the top of descent calculation is done very well. VNav, the actual performance of VNav, everything is just done so well.
Like it's done so well so that you don't even notice it, which is the
Exactly.
you know, irony of it. But it was really insanely difficult to get it right. Like we would like to respect all the, sorry, how far are we? At 13 miles out, we should go to flaps 1 and then 180.
Okay. You said
How far are we?
18?
18 miles out, or how far are we right now?
All right, we are 17 out. So
Okay,
let's do
cool.
that. We'll go to 180.
But yeah, as I said, like, you know, it works so flawlessly at this point that you just don't notice how complicated it is. But for it to really restrict all the altitude, respect all the altitude restrictions, you know, above or below, or hard altitude restrictions, and there's just so many problems that Steve had to figure out, and he's done an incredible job. And so yeah, that's the result of it. So every time you see, you know, the top of descent and how the plane starts descending down, just think of Steve, how he had to spend, you know, hundreds of hours trying to make sure that this actually happens, and then just watch the magic happen.
Should we lower the landing gear now?
No, you can open the speed brakes. We'll do landing gear at flaps 3, 8 miles out. So you can just open the speed brakes to slow down a bit.
All right.
So yeah, this is again like a real behavior. It takes a while for the plane to slow down. It's like slips really quickly. So often the pilots really do have to slow down or decrease the speeds in advance. So that's the X aerodynamics. Sorry, let me find out.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Cameron, he has done an incredible job with the flight model, which was, again, how would you know? You know, if you've never flown an Embraer, is the flight model good or not? The only people who can testify to that are the pilots, and they have loved the flight model. So it really flies very accurately at this point. And we had to do that twice. In X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 12, things are completely different. So yeah, I'm very happy with how it is.
All right, so basically what I've done is I went to VL and we activated the approach, but it's kind of veering off to, what is it doing?
Autopilot.
You need to hit nav. Right now you're in roll, so hit nav.
All right, so that's nav.
Autopilot, okay.
And we'll say approach. All right, I think it's captured it.
Cool.
Right, let's go ahead and reduce our speed.
Yeah, definitely. So you can do 260 and flaps 2. And we're pretty close now. We can actually do flap 3 and 150 at this point. So gear down, flap 3 and 150.
Look at that. Wow. Looks beautiful. All right. And here we are lined up with the runway. What was our final speed here? Let me go to performance, landing, and so we need 133. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go to VAP now?
Yeah, you go to VAP now.
All
Pretty much
right.
at 5 miles out, so we're almost there yet. Go for that.
Right. App. There we go. And we're gonna go flaps. That's flaps 4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
flaps
so one
5.
more
So
notch.
flaps 4 and flaps 5 is the exact same setting, except flaps 4 is used for takeoffs. Flaps 5 is used for landings.
I see. So 133. All right. We're looking good.
So yeah, you can go flaps 5.
All right, flaps.
Right now you're
Flaps 5. And we're going to go to 133. All right. Looking good. Guys, look at this beautiful view. Check it out. All right, think we're gonna... We didn't get the annunciation at 1,000. So that might be an X-plane thing. Right, let me go ahead and
Probably
disconnect.
not. I actually don't remember right now if we do have 1000 rod. If we're missing it, we'll just add it.
Okay.
I feel like we might not even have it in the real plane, but don't take me up for it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the autopilot now.
Autopilot.
Right, my aircraft. Oh, look at the crosswind there. Oof. All right, let's see if I can butter this for you guys.
Good luck.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Wow, the wind is so strong. Oof.
$50,
Throttle. Throttle.
30, 20, 10.
Woohoo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to San Francisco International Airport. Ooh, that was beautiful.
Nice.
By the way, we can do reverse if we want. Wow, that was really cool. That aircraft behind us is probably going to go around.
All items
And-
stowed until the fasten
yeah, we
seatbelt
can
sign
hear
has been
the-
turned off.
All right. I think this, why is it not moving now? Ah, it's the auto brake. All right, there we go. Is the brake set? Why
Yeah,
did
you can
it
see the
s-
park brake. Park brake is on right now. You can see it under the auto brake. There's a little light. Yeah, there we go. Now it's released. Not sure why that got engaged.
Well, I'll tell you, hand flying this aircraft is incredible fun. What is this here on the runway? All right.
Interesting.
Yeah. By the way, folks, this is a short final San Francisco International. It was just recently released with an update for X-Plane 12. And it's a free upgrade. So by all means, grab it and have fun with it. If you already have the definitive previous version, X-Plane 11, this one is totally free of charge. So you can have fun with it. All right. Wow, that was a lot of fun. Now, I'm going to... should we attempt to do a replay? Some of folks told me not to use the actual... not this little circle, and to actually use the arrows to do the replay. So should we attempt that, Marco? What do you think?
Well, you feel lucky. I mean, I think this is X-Plane 12, unfortunately, having its bad days, and it's heavy dependent on everyone's hardware. So yeah, sometimes on reload, it will just crash the same. So
Yeah.
I think, go ahead and try.
All right, let's go ahead and try.
Let's try it out. Just, yeah,
let's see,
I think just
toggle.
toggle the replay and don't do anything for a few seconds and see what happens, and then you can move the replay.
It didn't even come.
Okay, well, I mean, Laminar is aware of this.
Okay.
I think it will probably be related also to the crashes when loading airplanes, which
I
happens
see.
to a lot of add-ons now. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
completely... it's just... Yeah.
it's out of our hands.
It's out of our hands, yeah, unfortunately. But we'll load the aircraft once more because I think there are a few things we want to... yeah, it's unfortunately we couldn't do the replay, which is really bad. Yeah, I really wanted to show you guys also the airport, and this aircraft with this airport looks really good. I must say, it's a good set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like,
Well,
hopefully now it won't crash on the loading because that is the one known bug that we have. The E175 sometimes crashes when you load X-Plane 12.
that's
The
true.
other
Yeah.
planes don't have it. I don't know why only one of the 4 planes would have it. It just doesn't make any sense, but we've spent so many hours and days just trying to figure this out. But it is, again, a bug in X-Planes being confirmed. So if this ever happens to any one of you on your computer, it's most likely related to your hardware. Just load the Cessna 172 first, and then switch to the E175, and it should be all fine.
Thank you for that. I think that's very important. Yeah, and by the way, I can vouch for that because I've had the same issue with the 175 at Juneau International. All right, so now we've lost it, and yeah, we'll submit the report, tell them, and I'll let them fix it. But yeah, let's say okay. All right, so should we go to? Should we load another aircraft? Because I know it's going to be, we'll load another E19, maybe the E195, Marco, at
Yeah, we
San
could do
Francisco.
could do
Yeah.
any could do we could do the E190E Jet Blue maybe.
Okay.
Be
Yeah,
more
let's do
fitting.
that. We'll load it at San Francisco, and we'll do our concluding remarks there. But I really thoroughly enjoyed this live stream with you, Marco. I think
Great, yeah.
I've learned a few things myself today about the aircraft. It's been a lot of fun. Just on the last thing on our approach, do you know why the autopilot kind of got disengaged?
You mean why nav got disengaged?
Yeah, exactly. Nav got disengaged.
I think it's probably because you didn't press approach before you switched the source for the autopilot. So I think
Oh,
you
okay.
just went from LNAV in the FMS, and then you went directly to VL.
I see.
But because we didn't press nav for that, which would need, once you press approach, nav would get armed, or actually localizer would get armed. But because you didn't have it armed, it just went to roll, which is, it just keeps the roll.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go
Yeah.
to the 190, and let's select the JetBlue. By the way, JetBlue livery is really nice. Yeah, all right, let's go to...
I hope somebody will create the blueprint livery, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Don't know if
All
you've
right,
ever
so
seen
that's
it.
San Francisco, and we'll just load it there. Excellent. It shouldn't take very long to load. Hopefully, it won't take very long to load. I've had
Hopefully not, yeah.
sometimes it takes long, sometimes it doesn't. It depends.
You mean with the same add-on?
No, I mean with any add-on. It's just sometimes it's like super fast, and sometimes it just takes forever.
That could be, for example, if the developers did not convert their textures from PNG to a special format called DDS. And if you don't do that as a developer, Xplane's going to do that for you, but at the expense of just doing it through the loading time. Pretty much, it's going to
I
increase the
see.
loading time while it's converting every one of these textures to the right format. So that
I
could
see.
be one pretty big reason for that.
I see. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yep.
And will that happen every time, or will it just happen on the first load and then it would be okay afterwards?
I think it will be the first time we load that plane. And well, like, honestly, I'm not really sure how X-Plane handles that. I think it should be fine. Like, once you load it in X-Plane in the same session, it will probably still be there.
I see.
yeah.
Guys, look at this beautiful JetBlue Embraer E190. Look at that. I mean, this looks sensational. Look at that. Man, I think I should fly this one next. I love
You
it.
definitely should.
Yeah, look at that.
It is beautiful.
Very, very nice.
I think
indeed.
let's kick off the avionics with GPU to make it real quick. So if you just turn the batteries on,
All right.
and then do the GPU through the FB, so that we can have the avionics running for our end of the video.
All right.
We can also show that we have two different kind of versions of the avionics for the PFD. So we can show that afterwards. So yeah, let's go GPU.
GPU. Right.
The GPU on the EFB, yeah, perfect. And then just the GPU generator, perfect. Yeah.
All right. By the way, we can open these doors. So let me open these doors. By the way, if you click here on the engine covers, it will place them here. So they're already here. But you can remove them and have them on the aircraft engines. Ground object, passengers here. Let's just open everything here so you guys can see everything there is to see. All right, and if we go to the external view, now we can see the cargo door. You can see the handles there. And by the way, you can interact with the doors from the exterior. There is your xcraft GPU supplying power to the aircraft. All the aircraft doors are operational. You've got your ground elements, the chocks. Again, you can see the nice detail here of the GPU connecting to the aircraft. You can see the engines, you know, the blades running. This is very realistic. This is from the wind. And if you go closer, would you hear the tick, 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 tick noise?
Oh, it's I don't think so, but that would be very cool. I think we
Yeah.
need to add that, definitely.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Yeah. Was there anything else we wanted to show, Marco?
I think the most important part of the whole model is if you look really closely at the chocks, I'm very proud of being able to model a knot on the rope. So, because that when I was modeling the chocks like
I
on
see
the
it,
real
I see
planes,
it.
they
They're
always
right
have
there.
a knot there. Yeah. And I was like, I gotta model a knot. It's really not that straightforward.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow, look at those, the nose lights are beautiful.
We
Oh,
can,
well.
We can, yeah, let's have a look at the avionics. Just want to show the other type of avionics. So if we go to into cockpit and into our settings menu on top, on the top bar of X-Plane.
Okay, so we have...
Yeah, and then you have...
enable no. Use next gen,
yeah.
so untick that.
Yeah. Untick that, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So those are the kind of original avionics from Embraer that they used before. That's called Load 25, the version. And that's what still most Embraers will have today, most E-jets. However, every new E-jet that comes off the line today will have Load 27, which looks like the next gen avionics that we've flown with. And in real life, there are differences in the actual avionics and how things are set up and how they operate, and the FMS is slightly different. So just to let everyone know, the only difference for us is the visual difference on the PFD. Otherwise, everything is modeled based on the latest Load 27 avionics version.
I see. And is the Tektron FMS ever used on these E-jets?
Well, the Tecton was something we wanted to include until almost like a month ago still, but just because a lot of people were using it and we said, well, we already have it, why not just use it? And we had an improved version of it. But then it is just so complex, you know, because VNAV and Autopilot is so like tightly connected with the FMS on this plane that making all those connections right in one FMS kind of broke it in the other one. So we stopped working on Tecton for a while, and when we got back, we realized, well, half of the things, or like a lot of things, suddenly don't work. We would have to spend a lot of time making them work. So we said, okay, it was our stepping stone to getting here, because it really did take, you know, like 7 years for us to be able to create an FMS at this level. It's really, really, really difficult. Like, so we are, you know, we said goodbye to the Tecton FMS, and now we have a new kid in town, the real FMS, and yeah, we're very happy to be here, and that's it.
Excellent. Well, tell you guys, it's been a lot of fun doing this live stream with you, Marco. Definitely, I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's been probably one of the best streams I've done on the channel. It's been a lot of fun.
That's very cool.
And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this stream as much as I enjoy streaming it for you. I want to thank you ever so much, Marco, for taking the time to be with me here this evening and to really talk to the community directly and very openly. I love how transparent you are, and I think that adds a lot of credibility to you personally and to xcraft as one of the leading developers for the Explain platform. So I want to thank you very much for all of that. You've definitely made my day, and I assure you that I'm going to be one of your very first customers when the aircraft releases for Explain.
Oh, well, that's great. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this with you. Never done a YouTube stream before, so that's very cool. I'm just very overwhelmed with the positive comments that everyone's been posting. By the way, I'm very sorry that we were not able to answer all the questions. I saw so many questions. Somebody said that they will miss the Tecton FMS beep beep beep, which is really cute. We still have the beep beep. If you are typing with your keyboard, you will still hear the beeping, but you can disable it if you want to. So yeah, I'm sorry we didn't answer almost any, like very few questions from the comments. But yeah, you can always talk to us anywhere. We are very happy to talk to you. We want to be transparent because why not? Like I want everyone to understand the effort that goes into this, and it is a story. It's a journey that we were on to that pretty much took 10 years from my first E195 to get here today. This is incredible. I'm so proud of the whole team and what we've done, and I can't wait for everyone to experience these jets. So yeah, thank you again, and I'll look forward to the next stream.
My absolute pleasure. My absolute pleasure. Well, folks, this brings us to the conclusion of our live stream today. So, as always, and until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in, and bye-bye for now.
Bye.